Welcome to this special bulletin concerning a national outbreak that is affecting everyone in Australia. Science fever is spreading fast, and our roving reporters Brooke and Josh have the latest on this shocking discovery. Are our kids safe? Josh investigates. We cross to him now at the Ekka.
The Ekka looks like a fun place, but beware, science is all around us. You can see, clearly children are being affected by gravity. I'm in the pavilion where most of the science sightings have been seen. Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Have you seen any sightings of science?
Well, I understand there's some science going on around here that nobody sees or know much about. Nobody's here at the moment. What say I give you a private demonstration?
Okay, that
and
sounds
that'll be
fantastic.
a world first for you. There's something behind here that's going to change your view of the world.
Change my view of the world and science? Sounds amazing.
Try that.
Wow, I can already see the science.
You haven't seen anything yet. Wait till you see this up on the screen.
Whoa! Ugh.
Josh, do you realise what this means? That the first time that human physiology, correct human sight, as applied to machine vision, we can see reality recorded, delivered anywhere for education and entertainment and sports and engineering and medicine and the whole future of design. Everything on Earth will change. It'll be a paradigm shift for the future.
Josh, I agree. There are some very strange events happening there at the Ekka. Now, experts are saying that this phenomena is spreading at an alarming rate. As we know, the Earth on which we live is made up of over 75% of water. Can we drown the science bug?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Is there really science in the water?
Science in the water, of course there is. SEQ Water catches, stores and treats the water. Why don't you come and I'll tell you some more? Josh, this is the catchment. It's part of SEQ Water's world. Let me tell you how it all happens and where the science is. The rain falls in the water cycle. It falls from the clouds. It falls into the rivers and the creeks in our catchment. We've got lots of catchment. It's beautiful. It then runs down the rivers into the dams and into the streams. And after there, we pump the water out to our treatment plants, and that's where the science really starts. Josh, this is where it all happens. We get the raw water. It comes in from the dams or the rivers. We then treat it. We coagulate it. We flocculate it. We have sedimentation. We add some chlorine. We add some fluoride. And then you've got fresh water that's ready to go down to your tap. Is that science?
Yes.
Catch, store and treat. That's SEQ Water.
Wow, science in a cup. Amazing. And tastes fantastic.
Well, be warned. Our water is contaminated with science. Let's take a closer look at the rest of our planet. Surely science hasn't made its way to dry land.
Excuse me, sir. Is it really true that they have found science in the rocks?
Why, yes, it is true. Come have a look and I'll show you some.
So it looks like you got a load of rocks on this table, but this one here doesn't really look like a rock.
Yeah, funny you should mention that, Josh. This is a special rock. This is a fossil. This is the fossil thigh bone of an animal called Diprotodon. And this particular animal went extinct in Australia maybe 40 to 45,000 years ago. But this sample here on the table came from the Darling Downs south of Toowoomba in Queensland, and it's maybe 60 to 100,000 years old. Well, Josh, do you see this rock in the corner? This is one of the most significant rocks that we have. This is one of the oldest fossils on Earth. This rock was made by bacteria almost 3.5 billion years ago. That's 3,500 million years. It's science in the rock. So, Josh, it's amazing what you can find in the rocks. Have a look at some of this. We've got some lead ore over here. So these are some of Australia's important resources that we find in the rocks. And if we come to the other side, here we've got some fossil wood, and right next to that a fossil coral. So we've got both fossils from the ocean and fossils from land. And on the other side, this is a very important rock for Queensland. This is coal, and this is what drives much of Queensland's economy. So overall, there's lots of fascinating things in the rocks.
This science, it's everywhere.
Well, you've heard it here first. Science is everywhere. What's that? We're just crossing back to the Ekka now, where there has been another sighting of science, but this time in the form of a robot.
I hope to have an exclusive interview with Tubby the robot in the near future. So what is your mission here on Earth, Tubby?
Well, Josh, I think in the future, robots will be everywhere. So, people need to get used to robots being around all the time. That's my job, getting people used to robots.
Okay, Tubby, so when were you born?
I wasn't so much born, it's more like made. And bits of me are new, and then other bits of me are old, so it's hard to say. They're always taking bits off and putting other bits on, and it's very confusing. Soon, robots will be doing the shopping. Robots will be walking the dog. Even the dog will be a robot.
Well, thank you, Tubby. I hope you have a great time in the Ekka this year.
Thanks, Josh. I'm going to see the chickens now.
Are our chickens safe? It appears there is no stopping this science bug. The latest victims to have been infected are a group of young students. Let's take a look.
This outbreak of science seems to be getting very serious.
Serious? Science? Science is fun. Come with me, we'll go make some slime. Science isn't serious, science is lots of fun. It's all about the slime, the sherbet, the bangs, the pops, the fizzes. The first thing you need to do is loosen up and have some fun. First of all, we've got some slime. So what we've got here is some PVA with some green food colouring. So we put that in the bag first. And we've got some borax. So we put some of that in the bag with it. Seal the bag. Mix it up a bit. Got some slime. There we go. There we go. How about you go with Kat and she can show you some fizzing fun.
Okay, Josh, to do this next experiment, we need some bicarb soda, citric acid, jelly crystals, and icing sugar, and a fizzy drink of your choice. So in this, we've mixed up all the ingredients to make some yummy sherbet. Now I'm just going to get Josh to taste some. Yeah, tell me how it tastes. Oh. Whoa. Okay, Josh, so we've put some of our sherbet into our glove here. And now we're going to add our fizzy drink to show what happens when the sherbet mixes in our stomach and our mouth. Wow, can you imagine all of that going on in your stomach, Josh? Oh no.
Is that not gross enough for you yet? Come with me, I've got something really gross. Okay, Josh, now this stuff is called magic mud. And you may ask why this is called magic mud. Yeah? Have a look at this. Stick your hands in. It's all really gooey, but try and pull your hand out really quick. Yeah? And it goes hard. Do you know why that is? This is called a suspension. So there's lots of little particles in the water, so that when you pull it really hard, they all scrunch together and it makes it go hard. This is a special kind of fluid called a non-Newtonian fluid. You know why it's called that? Because it defies Newton's laws.
These young scientists are pretty cool, pretty mucky. So I'm going to stay here and have some fun with these guys. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah. It seems we've lost contact with Josh. Maybe he's been bitten by the bug. Next up, did you know that Australia produces more waste per head of population than any other country in the world? Except for the USA. Rubbish? Apparently not. And science, once again, is trashing our bins. We cross to Brooke at the Ekka for this dirty report.
Yes, I am here at the Ekka. I'm not quite sure where Josh has gone, but I'm standing here at a food stand and I have heard quite a few reports that science has been found in rubbish bins. Let's go and check it out. Excuse me, ma'am, have you found any science in your rubbish bin?
I sure have. Come with me. We can see where science comes into rubbish, and it's all about reduction. So there's 4 easy steps. Step 1 is refuse, so saying no to things that we don't need. Step 2, reduce, so use less of things. Step 3, reuse them. And step 4, recycle. With these 4 steps, we can reduce the amount of waste ending up in landfill, because that rubbish can cause pollution to the environment, and scientists all over the world are trying to find ways that we can reduce the amount of waste going to landfill.
On a more positive note, science is helping to reduce the amount of rubbish we create. And it looks like more help is at hand in the form of a strange looking vehicle. We cross back to the Ekka now with Brooke for a closer look.
So what is this big green car?
Well, this is actually a gum removal vehicle. We designed it to get rid of chewing gum, take care of minor littering problems in the inner cities.
So how does this work, Neil?
Basically, it's an electric vehicle, Brooke, that allows us to move around the city without any noise or any other pollution. And then whenever we find chewing gum, we can stop, and we use about 3 litres of water per hour that we convert into steam, and the steam actually removes the chewing gum, and then we have a built-in vacuum that removes all of the residues.
Wow, that's amazing, Neil.
Yeah, well, our brand promise is to educate and eradicate, and what we find is once we show people the amount of effort that it takes to clean up the chewing gum, then they don't spit the chewing gum down as much the next time. It's as simple as that, Brooke.
So gum that's been on the pavement for 10 years, you can get rid of that?
We can indeed, Brooke. It doesn't matter what age the gum is, the chewing gum dissolves because of the temperature of the steam.
Who would have thought that chewing gum would have such a serious impact on our environment? Now, Brooke has been doing a little digging around and found something very old and very interesting in our own backyard.
Brooke, in 1989, we were mustering cattle on my family cattle station Marathon in northwest Queensland, and we noticed protruding above the ground what appeared to be something a little bit different or unusual. And I picked this thing up and we sent it down to the Queensland Museum in Brisbane to a Dr. Ralph Molnar. He came back up to Marathon and we went back to the spot where we'd picked this little ankle bone looking thing up, and from under this much dirt we uncovered the most significant ankylosaur ever found in the world. If we have a look at the head, we see very, very heavy armour plating around very vulnerable areas like our head, which is needs to be protected. And we see the skin ossicles in between the 2 scoots of armour that we're looking at there, the little round dots. And around the back of its head, these ossicles are actually about this deep. So it tells us that 100 million years ago, you needed to be fairly well armoured up in order to survive, because there would have been bigger things running around, bigger dinosaurs that would have maybe liked to have eaten Minmite. So he is very, very well protected. You'll notice on the tail that it has little spikes of armour. This is a herbivore, and all of the dinosaurs had a method of defence. So Brooke, it's suggested that this little dinosaur, being a herbivore, has used his tail with his spikes on as a club, as a method of defence to ward off anything that maybe came too close to him.
Well, there you have it. Just think, without science, dinosaurs would still be a mystery to us. I think it's time to call in the experts from the University of Queensland to help shed some light on this science outbreak.
I'm really beginning to understand why the science outbreak is spreading. It's just so much fun. I've also heard reports of science at UQ. Let's go find out some more.
Josh, at the University of Queensland, we're all about exploring science, and what you're looking at here through this microscope is actually a tiny little spider. The microscope magnifies it so you can actually see tiny little things. Okay, Josh, so what we have here is a reaction timer. This might look quite simple, but it actually can test your reactions in milliseconds. So how it works is you start it with the blue button, and if you listen out for a tiny little beep, and as soon as you hear it, you press the yellow button, that's how quick your reaction is. And I just missed mine.
Not only is the science really interesting, but at UQ it's really colourful as well.
Thanks, Josh, for that very colourful report. Is anything safe from science? That is the question. Science has infiltrated our water, rocks, and even our trash. Is it safe to go out in our own garden? We cross to Brooke for this story.
Now I'm here with Corrine. Corrine, tell me, where have you discovered this outbreak of science in the garden?
Well, Brooke, come with me while we rummage through our native plants all the way through here. And look, we've got an outdoor shower with recycled water. And as you can see, Brooke, we've mulched the veggie garden to conserve water.
How scientific!
Brooke, we want everyone to plant lots of native trees like this because they require less water and they encourage lots of wild birds.
And what do wild birds do for our native plants?
Well, they pollinate here in the flower.
Hi, my name's Brooke. Could you please tell me a little bit about what's going on here?
Hi Brooke, my name's Lisa and this is aquaponics.
What's aquaponics?
Aquaponics is a garden that uses no soil.
A garden with no soil? How scientific's that? So Lisa, I can hear some water running. What exactly are we sitting on?
Let's open it up and have a look, shall we? Okay, Brooke. Well, what happens is the fish live in these tanks in the water, and basically the waste products from the fish provide nutrients to the plants, and that's why we don't need soil. One of the other exciting things that is in this scientific garden is this new type of tomato shaped like a strawberry. Science helps our farmers crossbreed their crops to make better vegetables for our gardens.
Yummy science.
So there you have it, a sustainable garden.
How scientific is that?
Thanks for that gardening exclusive, and good news, no more dirt under the fingernails. Well, it appears there could be a new outbreak occurring. They're calling it Mellifera, and it is a deadly combination of science and art. Be warned.
I'm here at QUT, just outside the block, where I hear there's been a merging of science and art. Let's go find out some more. I'm here with Trish and Andrew, the artists. Can you please explain how the collaboration of art and science has come about at QUT?
Well, basically, I guess it boils down to curiosity. And as artists, working with scientists, I think you have the best of both worlds.
And I was looking at creating artificial life forms in 3D environments on the computer and spoke to Trish one day and she said, I'm working with honeybees. So it sort of just merged from there because I was looking for something to base my artificial life upon.
What are some of the key elements you have taken from the bee world and the bee way of life and from analysing that and put into Mellifera?
Well, from an artistic point of view, these are metaphoric translations. However, one pretty direct link would be the way that the honeybee, we learned that the queen bee taps on the comb to pass messages to others in the hive. So we have taken this element of vibration and sound, which you will see in the installation through water vibrating.
There is also the obvious levels of the visual where we've reinterpreted the way that bees look and created not a photorealistic version of a bee or not even a model of a bee, but something that is a symbol for a bee.
Behind me here we have the large projection of the Mellifera project, where in a virtual world, little honeybees are teaching humans about life. This is a classic example about how these little honeybees are helping spread this epidemic of science across the nation.
Moving on to sport now. And Josh recently caught up with the Broncos, who are also showing signs of science fever.
I'm here at the Broncos home training ground to talk to Dr. Tim about sports science and the links between science and sports. Tim, I'm here today to investigate if there really is science in sport. Can you please explain what you do?
I work with coaches to try and find the best way to teach skill, to try and improve decision making. A large part of my job involves performance analysis, game analysis, and also I work in the area of injury prevention.
So Tim, do you really think that we can find science in everyday things we do?
Certainly, sports science is around us in a lot of different ways. For example, we would look at when we're recruiting potential players to the club, we have a look at their backgrounds in terms of how many sports they play. Some of the things we know about good decision makers and really skillful players is that they tend to play a lot of different sports.
How did you choose this career and what do you need to be good at?
I really enjoyed sport. I think if you want to go into sports science and you want to be a sports scientist, it helps if you do understand science and understand how the body works. But I think probably the more interesting thing for me is it challenges your ability to solve problems. So you need to be interested in problems and be interested in finding a practical solution to those problems.
So Tim, can you please demonstrate science in sport to me?
Yeah, well, this is what we call a GPS unit. Basically, we use that in training and in matches. Players wear them on their back, and then what it allows them to do is it allows us to monitor how fast they run, how far they run. It also has some technology in it that allows us to quantify tackles, so how many contact efforts they make.
What skills would I need to get into the Broncos team?
I think that the important thing to keep in mind is that talent will only take you so far. Whatever field you want to go into, whether it's football or whether it's science or whether it's business, you have to work really hard. So that's something that you need to bring with you is a good work ethic. You need to be dedicated to what you do. Speed's really important. It helps if you're fit. So keep doing your fitness work, but also just keep practicing your skills. So your passing, your tackling, keep practicing your draw and pass and your kicking skills. The more you practice, the better you're going to get.
Well, I'm really exhausted after all that investigating of science, and I think it's fair to confirm that science has truly reached an all-time high, with science now confirmed in sport. Back to you in the studio.
Our investigations have revealed that we may have tracked down the ringleaders of this science epidemic.
How exciting! We have here behind me a gathering of scientists. Now I have heard that two of the most important scientists at this time are somewhere in this group. Let's go and see if we can find them. I'm here with Professor Penny, Professor Peter. Now what exactly is the history of science and where does it come from?
It's a good question. If we think of science as being just wondering how the world works and having that curiosity, I imagine that science is about as old as, well, humans themselves, I reckon. But I like to think that maybe Galileo has played an important role in the history of science because he put together thinking with actually looking at observations and saying, what is the evidence?
What has been the cause of this national science outbreak?
I heard that it happened at the Echo this week, and there were a whole bunch of young scientists out there and they were talking about the future of mankind and the problems of the world. They said we've got these huge environmental problems, we've got health problems, we've got economic problems. It's down to science to fix all this stuff, and those old scientists aren't doing anything about it. So we young scientists are going to have to get out there and save the world.
How many and what sorts of people do you think have been affected?
My sources tell me that everyone, every single Australian may be affected.
Are you concerned that almost everybody in Australia is being exposed to science on a daily basis?
I think it's fantastic. You know, one way or another, we've got some pretty big issues to address in this country. All those ones, the environmental and health ones, and the economic ones, and all of them are going to require all of us to have a better understanding of science. So we need this infection to spread as fast as it can.
Well, it would appear these scientists will not rest until every member of the Australian nation is infected with the science bug.
It looks like science fever is not going to stop until it has infected everyone all over the world. Are we the only planet in jeopardy?
I'm here at the planetarium to talk to one of Australia's leading astronomers, Stephen Hughes, and I hope to find out more about the space science continuum. Let's head inside. Stephen, can you please explain the relationship between science and space?
We use science, or we use the scientific method in order to be able to understand space and study all the incredibly exciting things out there in the universe. Let me come and show you. Okay, Josh, we'll have a look at this. This is the famous Orion Nebula. It's going to be up in the sky in the evening later on in the year, and this is a vast ocean of gas and dust, and this is where stars are born.
What, like David Beckham?
No, not like David Beckham, more like our sun. Let me show you over here. Josh, this is a sort of star that I meant. This is our sun, the closest star to us, of course, but even then it's 150 million kilometres away from the Earth.
So how long would it take to get there?
170 years to reach the sun, so it's a long, long way from us. Let me show you something else. This one here, this is really my favourite. This is a supernova explosion. And this is really quite incredible. This is what happens when a large star, at least 8 times bigger than our sun, it comes to the end of its life, it runs out of the nuclear fuel in its core, and all of a sudden it explodes in a gigantic explosion. So this is a classic example of science and space coming together, and enables us to understand much better what's out there in this exciting universe.
Is this ever going to end? The plot thickens as we unearth a new breed of mathematician. Maths plus science equals the biggest 7th grader you will ever meet?
I'm inside the lecture theatre now with Simon Pumpkin. Simon, could you please tell me what has just happened?
Isn't it obvious? We've just had maths excitement come to Brisbane. It's about turning maths into something that it should be. That's something deep inside, because we love maths. Everyone loves maths. And I reckon what we should do is actually find that place inside us, that place that we find really exciting, and actually work from maths. That's what I do. When you come and see my show, you're experiencing maths my way.
You love maths? Can you express it? You can't express it either!
Simon, can you please explain the intergalactic repercussions of your show?
My show is about a maths battle which takes place here on Earth but has been called from very far away from a planet called Calculus. And a little lonely maths student, me, because I'm in year 7, I don't know if you can tell, I've got a beard because I did a lot of maths, but I happen to think that I was the best multiplier in the universe, and I said it so loudly that somehow it got through some sort of wormhole to another galaxy, and a thought machine called Calcutron heard, and apparently he's the best multiplier in the universe, and then he decided to come to Earth to battle me. And if I lose, he was going to destroy the planet.
Simon, do you think that maths and science can save the Earth?
Absolutely. If anything's going to save the Earth, I think it's going to be our brains. And maths is just thinking. It's just the way we think. So if we can really understand how we think and apply the way that we think, then we can save the planet, maybe from what we've done to it, but also for future generations. I think it's important. Maths is the answer.
So, it has been confirmed here at QUT that there is science in the maths, and who knew that if everyone in Australia uses science and maths, we could save the world. Back to you in the studio.
Well, there's a new twist. Maths is fun. We go undercover now. Josh is at Kangaroo Point and will blow the cover of a man disguised as a surfer who has been doing experiments on kids all over Australia.
I'm here at Kangaroo Point to catch up with Ruben, the surfing scientist. I've heard that he travels around schools in Australia doing science experiments on children. I have also heard that he appears on a TV show on ABC called Roller Coaster with his sidekick, Elliot. Don't see very many waves around here. Excuse me, are you Ruben the surfing scientist?
Yes, I am.
Is it true that you are the main cause of this science outbreak making science cool for kids.
It sure is, and I'm very sorry if that's a problem, but science is cool. Look, it's bubbling out of here now, Josh.
So what is it about science that makes it so cool for kids?
Oh, it's because it explains the things you see around you, and it's real, you can touch it, you can see it happening. So I reckon kids love it because it explains how the world works, and kids are probably the best scientists I know.
Could you show me what makes this science so cool?
Sure can, but you're going to have to put your surfboard down and put these goggles on. Check this out, Josh. Liquid nitrogen, minus 196 degrees Celsius, balloon full of air. Watch what happens. It's getting smaller and smaller, and can you see what makes science cool yet? It's going right in there, and now you can take it out with the tongs and just hold it nice and still. Now watch what happens. Getting bigger again. So there you go, mate, that's pretty cool, isn't it? And now you know how to fit a whole balloon this size in your pocket. But most people can't do that at home because most people don't have liquid nitrogen. So check this out. You can find yourself an ordinary potato and an ordinary straw. Check this out for cool. You wouldn't think it'd get through the potato, would you? But you can spear a potato with an ordinary straw, the power of the cylinder. There you go. If you want to have a go though, you're going to need a glove.
Pretty cool, but what are you doing to spread this outbreak?
Well, Josh, I'm taking my bag of tricks into schools and I'm showing them some of my favourite science experiments, but it's not just for any old reason, it's National Science Week, and the reason we're doing this is because I want more kids to become scientists, because Australia needs them. So the more kids like you and the others that become scientists, the better it is for our whole country, and when I'm old and grey, I need someone else to do this for me.
So these kids are infecting. Do you have any advice for them?
I sure do. If they want to become a good scientist and they're at primary school, then right now they're going to have to get good at not just science, but reading, writing, and really important, maths. Get good at maths, you can become a really good scientist.
Well, as you can see by our special report, science is everywhere. But we have found the source. It is National Science Week. To tell us more, Doreen, Chair of the Queensland Coordinating Committee, is joining me. Doreen, tell us what Science Week or National Science Week is all about.
Well, National Science Week is an Australia-wide celebration of life. It's one big party allowing us to explore and celebrate the innovation and development in science and technology all around us. So everyone has the tendency, it's just a matter of when you'll get the fever.
The science bug is around, and we can all be involved a lot more.
Absolutely. This year, the event is over. However, you can continue to look for updates and prepare for next year's Big Bash by checking out